Welcome back, everyone, to BBQ Basketball. Alongside Andrew Williamson, I'm Kendall Capps. Well, Andrew, you know, the NBA playoffs, we're in the second round, some games wrapping up. How about you throw on some dogs and we break down some of these matchups? We've got Memphis playing right now. They're still up. They're in Game 4, putting it on OKC early in this game.
The surprising 8-seed Grizzlies now may have a chance to go up 3-1 and start to take down these Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, you had them in the first series, you had them in the second series, and so far they're playing at a level. Zebo, you haven't seen him. You know, there's been times when he plays like this, other times he doesn't necessarily show up in quite the same way, but they're playing consistently. The real Gasol, will you please stand up? And maybe we're seeing him.
And maybe Marc Gasol is starting to look like that trade might have not been the most uneven trade you've ever heard of with Marc Gasol for Pau Gasol, because Marc Gasol is starting to hold his own here.
He is, and with the shooters that they have around them, they're playing really well right now. Do you think they finish it off?
I think Memphis, I took them at the beginning of the series. I think they'll win this game here, go up 3-1, and maybe even finish this out in 6.
I think it's going to be a really long series. I do like Memphis to make sure that they're up 2-1. If they win this game 3-1, it's a lot of pressure. But I think OKC, with their experience, they've been there last year. They are a little bit hungrier. And you hope that for their sake, they're able to put it together, go back home, put some pressure on the young Memphis Grizzlies, and win the series in 7.
Well, let's hop over to the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics today dropping Game 4 to the Miami Heat. They're down 3-1 now, going back to Miami. Big game by the big three, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Bosh with a big tip in at the end of the game.
At the end of overtime to pretty much sink that game. I mean, Miami, it felt like even though Boston led all game, you got the feeling that Miami was hanging right there, and they felt like that was their game to win.
And is this a matchup problem for the Celtics? Are they missing Perkins? What's the problem with the Celtics? How are they not able to convert?
Well, part of their strengths from last year, they had some down-low presence. In Miami, without the presence of a true center, you figure Boston will be able to exploit that and take control of the rebounding and make sure they're not getting any second-chance points. But that's not what's happened in this series. Miami, Joel Anthony is a plus 11 almost every game he's in. He's putting up numbers. And when the big three score, it's really difficult to beat them because of the defensive intensity that
now
they bring.
30-3 this year when the big three combined for 75 points like they did in Game 4. But do you think Boston now has a chance to go back to Miami and win a game and keep the series alive?
You can't bury a champion. They have the heart of a champion. I think they will go back. They will win Game 5. I don't know if they will win Game 6 or Game 7. I think Miami ends up finishing them off here. I had Miami, and the level they're playing at right now, it's going to be tough to beat both Bosh, Wade, and James.
Well, how about that other series in the East, the Chicago Bulls, even with the Atlanta Hawks, who are surprising people left and right.
Game for game, tit for tat. Atlanta, we all knew they've been dangerous for a few years, but did you really expect them to put a complete run together? So far, they're playing pretty well.
It finally looks to me like Atlanta finally got angry. They got tired of losing in the first round. They got tired of being the laughing stock. You're a good regular season team. You can't play in the playoffs. And they're angry. And I think they caught the Bulls by surprise. And when you look at this Bulls team, after Derrick Rose, there's not a lot of scorers there. There's not a lot of people who can help take control of the game.
And despite the fact that Boozer had a big Game 4, which they lost, most of the playoffs, he still hasn't really produced the way they would expect, just like he did with his previous team. And because of that, they've had a hard time.
Who takes Game 5 here in Chicago?
Chicago does. Chicago's going to find a way. They're just too good. Derrick Rose, one way or another, if he has to will them to this series victory, they're going to get through Atlanta.
I think Atlanta's going to come out and pull a stunner in Game 5, take a lead in this series.
But do you see him winning the series?
I'm not so sure. I think it goes 7. I think I'm still sticking with Chicago, but I think Atlanta might come out and shock them in Game 5 here.
All right, how about we go to the last series? It was a rather quick series that not many people saw. Neither one of us certainly did. Dallas getting just
proving maybe you can bury a champion. Because the Lakers got buried. 36-point loss, 4-game sweep. The last game of Phil Jackson's career. You have Andrew Bynum throwing elbows to J.J. Barea, Odom getting kicked out. Everything went wrong for the Lakers.
It was an ugly game, and you could tell that a lot of the Lakers, they had pretty much given up midway through that game in their series. They knew it was over. They had a lot of in-house problems with that team.
Well, and that's what I'd like
out against some issues.
That's what I'd like to hear about, because you hear a lot of people referring to problems in the locker room and issues, and it seems like something happened with this team. Guys weren't happy, and something
you could tell,
misfired going into
Bynum,
the playoffs.
despite the issues he might have had with his teammates, he might have been the best player for the Lakers in the postseason. And they couldn't get him the ball in crucial situations. Guards seemed unsure of when they needed to feed that ball down low, and they felt pressured when they weren't doing it. And they had a lot of issues in that series. They were all exposed by a hot shooting Dallas Mavericks team that finally is going to the West Finals again.
And when you look at this Dallas Mavericks team, this team is actually now maybe a title favorite with the way they're playing, the way they played earlier in the season back when they had Caron Butler. Now, Karan Butler may be coming back.
And
but
with the
now,
bench production, with Jason Terry, Peja Stojakovic shooting the way he did 8-9 years ago, it's amazing how he's turned back the
and
clock.
Sean Marion playing great, not the same Sean Marion he was in Phoenix, but a different Sean Marion who's able to play defense and contribute in the team. This team is deep and they're strong and they can score, and they've got a great player in Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
I think if they hold up, they may be able to take the next series.
That was the amazing thing about Game 4. They did all of that pretty much without Dirk. Dirk just looked up and, hey, we're up 24. Now it's 30.
And now they have time to rest. They're sitting around waiting for the end of this Oklahoma
home court against the Oklahoma City Memphis winner, who they struggled against, though. So we'll get to there, as we find out who really gets through these series. But until then, for Andrew, I'm Kendall Capps, and we hope to see you guys here again next time on Fireside Sports.